Here we are! Ignore the Skype screen you are seeing. There. We're back. Finally! Oh my god. Computer issues, people! Computer issues! I love them, I hate them, Why am I a computer tech? Why did I go to school for that?
It's what you do.
Yeah.
I love the lag. I just love it so much.
Local recording too, because that's not going to take up any extra processor. Okay, we are good. We are good. Other than the fact that has popped up over Freak's face.
Yeah.
There, it's gone.
Get rid of that. Yeah.
It's gone. So are we good? Are we ready? What have we got today? We've got some wonderful things in store. No, really we do.
You so more than I.
Oh, I just, I'm going to talk about, the standard things, how World of Warcraft is dying again. Probably going to be the last time it's going to die.
It's not going to die until it's over with.
It lost 1.1 million players in the last 3 months. It's now down to about 9.
It can always get more. That's the sad part.
It might with, their new expansion, Mists of Pandaria! It might.
That's out already, right?
No, it will
They've
be.
been talking about it for a year.
Yeah, they always do that. They always talk about it for a year. No, I think probably get a small surge back. I think it'll peak at about 10, maybe 10.5 million, which will be down from 12, which was Cataclysm's highest point. I was there at the highest point. I did not like the game. It bored me.
I wonder why.
Because of WoW.
Who doesn't love WoW?
It's boring. It's the Old Republic is significantly more engaging, and really the systems are very similar. But then again, that's also because of the voice acting in the Old Republic, which they've been in for.
Almost every system since WoW was made has been similar to WoW because it's WoW.
Except for some of the newer ones. I mean, we're talking about Terra Online, which is also probably going to be going to pay eventually, shortly. They sent me an email about a 7-day trial. I'm slightly concerned.
Terra, the spaceship one?
No, Terra is the action combat one in basically a WoW setting. And then there's Guild Wars 2, which is also a much more action-oriented.
Oh, that game.
Yeah.
I beta tested that game.
A lot of people did.
I tested a lot of MMOs.
I know, it's very common. Get it on their list, and they're like, hey, beta test, beta test, beta test! But you can't say anything about it. You signed an NDA.
And that's why you beta test one game with me. That one really, really weird game where you didn't have classes.
Oh, that one. That one was cool, and then it disappeared.
Yeah.
I was sad. But, World of Warcraft losing subscribers. They think it's because people were playing Diablo 3, and I laugh in their faces.
See, here's the thing about Diablo 3.
The always online DRM?
Yes, turn that the fuck off. Patch it. Patch it now. Bye. There's no way I'm playing a game that I can only play while I'm online.
I'm not playing Diablo.
No way.
Not without an offline mode. Even Diablo 2, for its... Actually, Diablo 2 was very good in the fact it had an offline mode.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you can't get online again with Diablo 2, though.
Yeah, you can.
I don't know.
You can.
Okay.
I
tried it, didn't work.
I know people who were playing it before Diablo 3 came out.
Well, yeah, before Diablo 3. When I tried it the other day, it wouldn't let me online, so...
Did you
I don't know, maybe I was just doing something wrong.
Did you forget your battle.net password?
Possibly.
That
I don't know the passwords for anything I've created in the past 10 years. I use the same one, then I changed to a different one, and then so many emails for schools and other stuff, and...
That'll do it all the time.
I still can't remember my first email. I remember the email address. I don't remember the password.
Oh, the other reason I didn't like WoW I was on it for about 2 months, actually 1 month. Guess what?
What?
I got hacked.
Do you want to know why I didn't like WoW? I played it for 2 days and I was bored from the first click.
Sounds about right.
It's boring.
It is. It was a product of its time back actually probably more like 7 years ago, when everyone was on dial-up.
2004?
Hmm?
It came out DSL? DSL's right? That's the other internet?
Yeah.
Yeah, came out with DSL, didn't it? Around DSL.
Somewhere around there, but a lot of people were still on modems and things, so the system of combat in particular is very much a product of its time and needs to die.
Update.
They
or
can't.
Finish the damn story already. Or update.
They can't update it anymore. I mean, they're stuck with the game engine they have, and when they introduced flying mounts, they kind of started breaking the engine. And every expansion since then has been patch the engine, and watch it break, and break.
Well, look at the Final Fantasy Online game. What was it, 14? They
14
really fucked up on that, and then
yeah.
took it down and redid it. I think it's back up now.
I think so. I think 14 is.
Or they're working on it again. I don't know.
Well, that's because it's an MMO. There's always room to improve.
Yeah, that, and they mess up a lot when they're
It's a very difficult thing to do, is make an MMO. It's a risky business, and it's difficult to do.
It's difficult to do, but they gotta do it right. I mean, with 14, it seemed like they didn't put enough time into it.
Well, part of that was probably that.
And honestly, if they wanted to get 12 is an MMO. 11. No?
Yeah, 11.
No, 12. I'm talking about 12.
12 is
12 is with Johnny Young Bosch.
No, that was 11.
Oh.
12 was the one in
11's
Involus. 12 was Involus. 11 was the other MMO. And the problem they had with that one is something...
No, I am talking about Final Fantasy 12. Have you played Final Fantasy 12?
That's with Involus.
When you're Vash, and you have Bunny Girl?
Yes.
Yeah, that system was an MMO. Everything about that game was MMO.
Except
they
wasn't.
wanted to make it... Yeah, no. The fighting style was MMO style. It was basically MMO. If they wanted to do that, they could have just taken what they did to that and online and want to work.
Well, here was the problem with it, and they had this problem with 11, which was the first MMO, is that you had surges of people not having the right class. I mean, you'd be lacking mages, and then healers, and tanks were plentiful, which is an oddity, I believe. I think tanks at one time were plentiful in there, but mages were hard. Black mages were near impossible to find. Healers were near impossible to find, which are actually, the black mages being hard to find is very rare in MMO. So with 14, they had to fix it by saying, okay, you can be whatever class you want, but there comes a point when you have to switch classes, because you will run out of it, so that you have a rotating set of classes. So theoretically, you'll never run out. You'll never have a short of classes. You'll have more of a balance, because someone's always going to be working on a class that they really might not like, they might not be good at, but they're there. You won't have a problem finding people who are that class you need.
Yeah, but still, if they did the way that Final Fantasy 12 was you are this character and you don't have a class, you can just choose what you want to level up in. That would have been good for an MMO.
Here's the problem with the MMO. You always need someone who's going to be a defender, unless you do like Guild Wars is doing, which is more dodging, or Terra does the same thing with more dodging, but you still want to attract the attention of something, which means generally that person's going to be taking a beating. You're going to need someone to do some type of healing, and unless you can guarantee it, that they're going to be there, you're not going to be able to build a proper boss. And that's why classes have been so useful in an MMO setting, because you have 1 or 2 tanking classes, 3 or 4 DPS classes, and they're healing.
And I like to point out that in every MMO, every class, any class, I've played every class in every MMO I've ever played. I can tank any class. I do it. That's what I do. I'm not a solo player in any game. I don't know why. That's the point of an MMO.
If you've ever played a multiplayer aspect of an MMO, I did this in WoW for a very short time. I played about 2 or 3 dungeons, level 20 dungeons, which is the lowest level you can get in. I was a tank. Here's the thing: mages die very quickly because they have such small health. I mean, they will die, and there's no way to get them really back on their feet. As the tank, you have to take the damage, take it because you can absorb it because you're wearing the heavy armor. You've got the damage dissipation abilities. Otherwise, everyone's gonna die.
I guess it's just like somehow odd ability to tank any class that I don't think about it.
Well, here's the thing: MMOs are designed to be mostly soloable in most cases. If you were trying to tank, say, a world boss, and if you don't know what world boss is, those things are giant, huge, about designed for 25 to 30 people to take down.
Oh, I've done bosses with other people. I just usually go off on my own and again tank it.
The problem is, unless your class is designed to take damage, these things will murder you. And even then, you might need multiple tanks. I've seen people do heroic WoW runs in WoW dungeons. You normally have 2 tanks, 3 healers, and the rest are DPS. And the tanks will often switch off because they're taking too much damage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you watch it, the Trinity system is very useful. It's very easy to design a boss around it. In a classless system, it's harder to guarantee everyone's going to have the right abilities. This is why a lot of MMOs have a tank slot, DPS slot, and a healer slot when you're grouping.
And a lot of MMOs are actually starting to move away from the class system as well, and trying other new things.
And there's plenty of room to do that. I mean, a classless system sounds very nice, but like I said, it's harder to design a boss around. You might not have a healer. I mean, if you have no healer, your tank is possibly going to die. But the way you can get around that is, especially with more action-oriented MMOs, you add evasions. The goal is suddenly not to tank the enemy, but to hold its aggro and not get hit. I mean, Terra does this, Guild Wars 2 does this. You have the ability to dodge out of the way. In fact, that's the main focus, is to not take damage. You take damage, you're going to die very fast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one way to move away from the whole Trinity system. Guild Wars 2 also lets all classes have some form of healing ability. It might not be as effective as, say, a more dedicated healer, but your swordsman can at least keep himself halfway decently alive.
So if you can't heal yourself, you're pretty screwed.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and
potions don't always do it.
And I've had this problem in the Old Republic, is I chose a healer class. I don't know why, but I did. And I can't keep myself alive with my own healing abilities. I haven't even unlocked an area of effect healing ability yet. And I'm in my mid-20s level.
You suck.
No, it's just that it's very difficult to... it's different. Because you no longer have a mana bar. It's weird. It's a kind of regenerating mana bar. But it regenerates... The speed of regeneration is based on how much of it you already have in stock. So it regenerates faster the more you have.
But you have midichlorians and can use the Force.
No, I'm not a Jedi. I am a smuggler.
Not a Force-sensitive smuggler?
You can't do Force-sensitive smugglers.
What?
You're just a generic smuggler who likes to make money.
You can either be Force-sensitive...
You can either be a Jedi, or you can be a smuggler, or a Republic trooper. That's on the Republic side. On the Empire side, you can be Sith, Bounty Hunter, or what was the fourth one?
You can't be Force-sensitive?
No. Well, technically, yes. There's something they introduced in the Legacy system. If you've got a level 50 character, and say your level 50 character was a Jedi, you get some abilities from him. A perfect example would be if you had a Sith, as in the race Sith, Jedi or Sith, as your main character, and you rolled an alternate. you could then be a Sith smuggler and be able to force choke people.
So I have to play as a Jedi to play a Jedi smuggler.
Pretty much.
That's stupid. That's not even how the tabletop game goes.
It's not based on the tabletop game. I wouldn't worry about it.
It should be.
KOTOR wasn't even based on that, so...
It kind of was a
Not
little
really.
bit. At least told you dice rolls and stuff.
It told you dice
looked
rolls
into
because it was more of a
everything.
D&D style system. It's...
Which is what the tabletop was.
Oh yeah, probably.
I played the tabletop. I was very good. I was a Bothan. Does anybody know what a Bothan is? No, because they weren't in the movies.
Yes, they were.
I think one was.
Bothans are cool. I prefer Chiss, but that's beside the point. That's
Most people don't remember Bothans.
Oh, that's because those people are silly.
Because they don't address them in the movie. There's one there in the background scene. That's it in the movies.
Bothans are neat. Not as cool as say what's Admiral Ackbar's race? Mon Calamari. Mon Calamari are cool.
They look like
fish.
Yeah.
That's because they're fish! They literally are! Mon Calamari is the water world.
And Bothans are like goat, horse,
I don't know.
things.
I don't know.
They're goat, horse, wolf things. That's what they are.
They're cool. They are cool. Almost as cool as Hutts, but Hutts are kind of disgusting.
They can't walk.
They
all seem to be mob bosses.
Have you ever seen Nar Shaddaa? There's a reason they're mob bosses.
Still, it's
Anyway, moving on from the tangents again. Peggy ratings this week. This is the rating system over in Europe. Is officially become forcible law. If you sell an 18-rated game to someone under 18, you could be put away for 6 years and fined £5,000. 6 years jail time, £5,000.
That's why you get your parents to buy the game.
Here's one of the other things. If you sell a PEGI-rated 3 game to someone under 3, you could also get 6 years and £5,000.
How are you going to sell a game to somebody under 3? They can't talk.
I don't pretend to know, but that's the lowest PEGI rating. That's enforceable.
They can't buy anything. They don't have money.
Well, you could always sell it to a newborn who comes crawling out of a... I'm joking, of course, but yeah, they're legally... they're legally enforceable now.
They don't... There's no money to...
I know, it's stupid.
What even the hell? That's all I get. What even the hell?
So, that became enforceable this week, which is wonderful.
It's just stupid.
Yeah. And as a segue from that, 2K said something that was very stupid.
When does 2K not say something stupid?
When occasionally they don't, but he said, in order for games to move on, to be emotionally engaging, we need to focus on... Can you guess what he said?
Movement control.
Being more photorealistic! Because that's the only way to engage your audience when everything looks photorealistic! Because Journey cannot have you feel engaged and sad!
Bullshit.
That's exactly it. Everyone in the gaming industry says this. That's complete utter bullcrap. I'll test you guys here. Did you see Bambi?
Yeah, who hasn't seen Bambi?
The scene where his mother dies. Does that not make you feel sad?
You gotta remember who you're talking to here.
Other than you, most people will admit that is the most heart-wrenching scene in that movie, and you can tell it's obviously animated, and yet it wrenches at your very soul, and you go, Or The Lion King when Mufasa dies, also just as bad.
Huh. Well, that's Hamlet, but anyways.
Oh yeah, that too.
You don't need visual realization.
It helps. It helps.
It helps, but then again, what also helps most of all is character development. If you feel something for your character, then you will be more engaged in the game. It doesn't matter if the character looks like a stick or not. Look all the way back to freaking Zelda. People are engaged as hell in that, and he looks like crap. Look back, the only game that ever make me cry is Breath of Fire 2 in the very end when all your companions die. They just die for no reason.
I never got that far.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
Don't worry, it's a 16-year-old game.
They all died. It was like, that actually literally, legitimately made me feel devastated because everyone, all the people I have been leveling up, I've been companioning with, I have been with me, talking to, learning their backstory, the whole game, at the very end, are gone. It's just you, the final boss, and that's a 16-bit game. It does not look very realistic, but still. That character development of that game made you feel something for those characters, as long as you were actually paying attention.
A well-written story is the key. And let's take a recent example, Spec Ops: The Line. It's actually a very engaging and emotional game, and the photorealism helps. I mean, when you can see physically what a mortar does to a human being, you feel terrible, because you know, you just launched it. And you get to walk among the devastation you just wreaked, and you feel bad. The realism helps, but a well-written story helps even more.
Wasn't FMV the whole debate, like way back when they started that?
In the
realism?
90s.
Yeah, realism was what we wanted. It wasn't. FMV sucked.
FMVs did. There were a couple of good ones. Journeyman was the best series in that. For FMVs, it was brilliant.
I think the best realism of a game I can think of right now, that's like ultra realistic, but at the same time not. Heavy Rain, because that was actually completely motion captured, and the motion caps look like the actors who did who did the motion capturing. The voices are the same, except for Paige. Her face and voice are two different people. Right. But
yeah,
but then again, I could not get in that story. I did not feel anything with those characters. I just found that game completely boring. A really, really long movie who just should have ended way sooner. I mean, which could have killed everybody fast.
A really good story with some really good voice actors will carry the game. Some really good voice actors will carry your game. And a well-written story will also help carry the game. If you combine both of these, you have what you need to make a really good game. If you don't have them.
Visuals help, but they're
not the end-all.
Yeah.
They're not what he said in the... I read the entire article. He says basically that's the end all of it all. Nothing about quality voice actors, none of that. He said full realism is what we should be striving for because that's the only way to engage them.
Okay, look at full realism in Sonic 06.
Oh god.
That's jarring.
Well, that's because Sonic doesn't fit. That's
compared to everybody else. That is jarring.
That's called Clash of Art Styles.
He doesn't fit in that world.
No.
I mean, it's cool to see Robotnik that way, but he doesn't fit in that world.
And that's called the Clash of Art Styles.
Yeah, that realism doesn't work with all games. No. If Mario was realistic, that'd be terrifying.
Oh, that would be.
That'd be absolutely terrifying.
There are games that don't need to be photorealistic, and they can carry you.
Most games do not.
A good art style and a good, well-written story will carry your game. Borderlands. Did that game look photorealistic at all?
No.
Oh! But it played and was wonderful.
I love that game.
I love it too. Even though I didn't play it for about a year because I lent it to my friend who played it for a year. That's beside the point.
I played that game non-stop since I got it. I beat it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to start over.
Yeah.
Love that game.
Yeah.
Visuals help, but they're not important. Honestly, I think if there's a good text-based game, that people would still probably get it. I mean, people RP online time with typing in everything, and odds are text-based games would still sell. People still get to handheld games. Handhelds are, handheld, Droid games, but those can be very simple.
Yeah. The problem with an Android device is you have a limited number of inputs you have before you have to start simulating buttons, and that takes up physical screen size, physical screen space that your people won't see. There's a lot of things with touch devices that you have to take into consideration when designing.
Like this, Sonic CD on the Android. I love it. I got it because it's Sonic. I love Sonic, but I'm gonna try to show the best I can. Since it is a screen, I'm pretty sure buttons are on screen, and they're not the best because it's touch input. So it's very loose, and I'm gonna play Sonic a little bit. Sorry, I started off. I can't stop now.
Oh come on, but, we got your story to talk about. That's why I was hoping to play. Just hit the power button on the phone.
Sonic. But that's the thing is, I completely forgot now. Oh, even Android games can be engaging depending on what the game is. It doesn't have to be a completely visual engaging game. There was one game that was like a mystery game. You had to go through rooms to find stuff to get out of it. I liked that game, but that wasn't very visual realistic, and it was kind of stressful since you had a time limit or you'd die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that game is now. That was 2 Androids ago.
Yeah. So, visual graphics help, but they're not the end-all. And, why don't we segue into your story, then?
Oh, yes. My story, as I've heard so many people talk about in the past, I think probably a month and a half, same thing I've been thinking as well, is people aren't that excited about new consoles anymore. And there's 2 reasons behind that. One, a lot more games are coming out on PC, and you can build a very good PC for the same price that you'd buy a console and a bunch of games for, and you can continuously buy games on the PC, and they'll always be there. You'll never lose them. If you buy a digital copy, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, PCs generally have stronger hardware than the consoles. I know the reasoning behind that is console hardware is made X amount of years ahead of time, and they're testing it to get it perfect before they release it.
Well, but even then, we have to consider that the Xbox, the 360, which sits right here, runs on hardware that physically was designed 6+ years ago.
Yeah.
It can't handle more.
No, it can't.
And, and that's why consoles have to upgrade. It's because physically there's a point where your technology just gets so old, you start holding back what a developer can do.
But most companies don't want to start making more until they have enough money that they know they can make a console and still have a good standing. Because look at PlayStation. Mm-hmm. They want a 10-year for PS3. They want it to be as PS2.
Yeah.
PS2 had a long lifespan. They want to be as big as that, but they were still dabbling. We were all still dabbling with technology. Xbox is still DVD. PS3 went straight to Blu-ray, which is 3 DVDs in 1 disc.
A lot.
Is much better technology. I doubt we're going to upgrade that for at least 10 years.
Probably not.
But with hardware increasing at the rapid rate that it is, within 6 months, I know my computer's going to be obsolete. There's never going to be better stuff out there. And I just built this thing a month ago. With increasing technology, you got to take that into effect with your hardware. The PS3, the most you can do with that hardware on your own to upgrade it is give it a new hard drive, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think of it. That's with the Slim. With the Xbox, you can buy external hardware and a disk drive for it.
Mm-hmm.
If you break it, that's about it. But you can't upgrade anything.
No. And
because.
And here's something that ties into what you said before. Here's the thing with console cycles as they develop. If you look at an early Xbox 360 title, you'll notice it doesn't look that much better than a very late original Xbox title. The difference between the two is very slim. Now, if you take a look at a late Xbox game and a late 360 game, they're going to look drastically different. That's because it takes time for developers and the software development kits for the consoles to learn how to fully utilize what's in there. And right now we're running up against a very hard wall to where most games, and this is generally on the 360, but also on the PS3, they run at 30 frames per second. Because the hardware is limited and it can't handle 60.
No, it can't.
They literally cannot. And if you're talking 3D, you're talking even fewer frames.
Yeah.
For the PS3.
And
so
computer can handle way past that.
There really isn't unless you update the hardware, which means a new console, because otherwise you start fragmenting your community even more. And they've already done that with the Move and the Kinect. But
they don't want to update the console because of the price.
The
years it takes to study and get it perfect before they can release it.
Well, that's why theoretically you do it beforehand. This is why 3 years ago Nintendo decided to start working on its next one, which is why they're coming out now, because they've had 3 years to get the hardware right, get everything lined up for it, so the Wii U can come out.
And
if the other console makers haven't done that, if they haven't already started doing this, things are going to turn bad.
Yeah, I think Sony has. I don't think Microsoft actually has.
I don't know. Here's the thing. They're very good about keeping it under wraps.
Kind of, a little bit. A little bit. I mean, original consoles for the GameCube the Wii got leaked early. It was GameCube or Wii got leaked early. It was supposed to be a pyramid.
Yeah. But that's more of an aesthetic design more than anything else. They can change that really quickly.
Yeah, that would have been cool, though.
Yeah.
A lot of eyes have been lost.
That's probably why they don't go with it.
If they don't want to release a new console every, let's say, 5 years, because that's kind of what it seems like it needs to be.
It's about 6, actually.
5 years. They need to make consoles that we can somehow upgrade. And the console that already does that is the PC.
Right.
Because, I don't know about you guys, Dead Island has a problem where if you don't turn on VSync, it runs frames so fast it will actually cause your computer to crash.
Mm-hmm.
Saints Row the Third, generally, at least the startup runs in the thousands of frames per second before it actually starts playing, and then it's around 90. And that's just a PC. A PC can do that easily. You can always upgrade a PC, well, almost always upgrade a PC because of how old it is. You can always buy a new one.
Mm-hmm. And a PC, I mean, I'm going to tell you this, my PC is probably significantly stronger than probably even the Xbox 720 will be, and I'm only running at 550 Ti. And NVIDIA, and that's because right now this is roughly middle grade hardware that probably would have been upper grade hardware 2 years ago. That was actually upper grade hardware 2 years ago. So this would be roughly what they would be using to make the 720 and the PS4. Now we know that the Wii U only runs a 5000 roughly Radeon 5670, I believe, which is still pretty good. That's roughly middle range, but it's not nearly as powerful as what the next ones will use, the Xbox and the PS4.
It's stronger than the current Xbox and PS4, though.
Oh, by far.
And really, Nintendo doesn't care that much about their console hardware.
If Nintendo cared about graphical quality, and not that I'm saying graphical quality is something they don't care about. They do. But if they had really cared a lot about it, the Game Boy would have never come out. At the time, the monochrome 8-bit screen for the Game Boy was already outdated. I mean, there was the Wonder Swan out. That was, I believe, the Wonder Swan Color was out. It was a color.
I don't think the Swan was that popular.
It wasn't. That was the thing. The Game Boy came packaged with games, and that's what really helped. Tetris sold the Game Boy.
Oh God, Tetris.
You sunk hours
There's
into
so much
Tetris.
conspiracy about Tetris, even.
Yeah.
And I watched several documentaries and researched Tetris heavily. I don't even know why.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I was supposed to be researching something else.
You silly man.
I love school.
Oh well. But graphics does not always a great system make if you have the games for it. And this is what they've done with the Wii. They packaged I guess you could say Wii Sports is technically a packaged game. And I've sunk hours into it. Many people have. A packaged something with your console will entice the people to buy.
And then with the Wii Motion Plus came Wii Sports Resort,
which was even more, and that caused even more, and then so.
And if you think about it, the Wii Motion Plus was actually a hardware upgrade for the Wii.
It really,
even it was like small.
Yeah.
If they could do that for more consoles, people would be a bit more happier. It doesn't have to be huge upgrades, just some upgrades to increase the performance of the console.
The problem is, of course, the operating system of the console is the problem. If it can't, upgrading that is always the hard problem.
Yeah.
I mean, even though you get updates, seems like monthly on the Xbox, upgrade that to handle more hardware, and yet, if you don't have that hardware, it has to handle the old hardware as well as it used to. It's a big programming problem. With PC, they can get around it because the developers of the hardware are not Microsoft.
Oh, Microsoft.
The hardware developers are the people who make the hardware. NVIDIA, ATI.
Yeah, but look at it this way. Everybody loves Microsoft. They do everything perfectly.
Oh yes. They certainly didn't have a 45% failure rating with the Xbox 360.
Nope. What happened was all just a very, very vivid dream to everybody.
Yes, the Templars did it. Always the Templars.
Yep. Xbox 360 was perfect when it came out.
Always.
So, one more thing about hardware for consoles. If a console can do certain things, and it's only because of the hardware, and you're complaining about the price, and the reason the price is because the hardware that's in it, and then they remove the hardware to make it cheaper, and then you complain, don't complain. I'm talking about the PS3 here, because when the PS3 came out, it was backwards compatible and could do all this other stuff, people complained about the price, so they removed all that stuff, and then people say, I can't do this now. Well, you wanted it cheaper.
Yeah.
You can't want both. You can't get both ways.
There was a lot of R&D with the PS3 and the cell processor, which they've only about 2 or 3 years ago really figured out how to use it right.
Yeah.
And so they got all this R&D. They have to try and make some money back on this actually very good processor. But at the same time, it's got to sell for at least X amount of money, and like most companies, they actually were taking losses on those. They were taking losses on that $600 console you bought.
That's because people wanted it cheaper.
Oh, even then, this is what Nintendo does the same thing. When the Wii U comes out, it'll be around $500, maybe $600, and they will still be taking losses because they haven't optimized the processes yet.
Yeah. What's the Wii now, like 50?
I think it's more like 2.
Oh. Wow, that's gone down a lot.
They have, because the processes have gotten streamlined. You can make them cheaper because people are producing parts. You can get the parts cheaper. I mean, this happens as you go through a production. The prices for Nintendo to make go down, so they start making a profit on them. They can start cutting down the prices. I mean,
when consoles first come out, they're
expensive. They've always been expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what a Super Nintendo retailed for when it came out, but it was pretty close to around $600. A new console is always been expensive. This is why GameStop and other such companies allow you to trade in your old console so that you can partially afford a new one. You don't have to put as much money down. Which is why backwards compatibility with an older console is a very big thing. If it cannot be backwards compatible, then why would you trade in your old console? I mean, it may save you
Well,
50, 60 bucks, but if you can't play your old games in it, you know, you're going to play your 1 or 2 new games that you were able to afford with your new console, and that's it. So, consoles have always been expensive. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That was the reason my parents never bought us the N64. It was my aunt who bought me and my family the N64, and I love that N64. Still sits and plays, but consoles are expensive. Always have been.
especially with inflation now and all that these days.
Well, even then, the prices haven't really changed. That's the interesting thing. Even with inflation, it really hasn't adjusted. Even...
Super Nintendo's 200.
Was it 200?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I thought it was more. Maybe I'm...
Neo Geo was 250.
Oh, that would be why the Neo Geo didn't do so well, but that was beside the point.
No, Hudson was 250. Neo Geo was 650. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Neo Geo. I know there were some very expensive ones, but consoles are expensive. They always have been. It's the way life goes. I mean, yeah. Spending $600 every 6 years, that's actually not that bad. You can save $100
Every
per
year.
console year. Per year, you can afford a new console every time one comes out. I mean, $100 over a year, just take a $10 bill and put it aside.
Same
every
time,
month.
though.
Every month. I know
At the
people
same time.
budgets run tight. Mine is also very tight. But $10 a month put aside, you can do it. It's called putting off, saving for the future, just a little bit at a time.
At the same time, if you're just going to go for PC, because a lot of games are coming out on PC now, even Sega, Sonic games are on PC. Old games are on PC. If you're just going to go for PC, it's like probably $50 a year to upgrade at least one part, depending on what it is that you need to upgrade. Maybe a little bit more, so you can play the next generation games.
And if you stick around middle of the grade hardware, you can do well. Things will look very nice. I mean, they'll look better than your console counterparts, and the games will look pretty good. They'll run very good. You don't have to spend that $600 on the best graphics card every time one comes out.
Yeah.
If you stick middle of the road, upgrading every 2 years, that'll cost you a couple $100 every 2 years.
I think I probably bought the second best graphics card there was, but that's because the first best was too big.
Yeah, well, that's always a problem too. You gotta know what you're doing, but it's not awfully hard.
No, and a PC should last you
Good PC
for gaming at least 10 years before you have to upgrade the graphics card.
The graphics card will last you a long time, and especially if once you start establishing a good library of games, you'll go back to the older games. I mean, I've done this a lot. There's a lot of older games I'll play.
Some old games for some reason have problems with current gen.
Right, and that's because how hardware works and how hardware advances. But there's great resources out there for it. I've heard this mentioned a lot of times is PCGamingWiki.com. It's a great resource of information that people have put together. Occasionally there'll be mods to help make the software run better on modern hardware. I mean, you can do a lot with the PC game.
Yeah, but we got like 10 minutes left, so.
Okay, let's talk about this Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift is a
new Virtual Boy.
Not quite, but very similar. For one, it uses full colors. It's a virtual reality headset that they've developed and they're working on. Right now, on Kickstarter, they've reached a goal of almost 1.2 million. They've reached $1.2 million, roughly, with 28 days to go. But this is the thing. You're not going to get the Oculus Rift from this Kickstarter. This is about software developers. This is the software development kit, or SDK. That's what you get. You get an early SDK, along with prototype hardware for supporting them. This is not for the gamer to have for the gamer to use. Undoubtedly, when this thing comes out, it's going to be probably around $120. Which isn't going to be bad. What this is about is getting the hardware in the hands of the developers so that they can start building for this. When it really comes out to the market, they will have the SDKs, they will have the software out there already ready for the consumers to have and use. Which is the hardest thing for a hardware developer to do. Is to have the software ready when your hardware hits the market, which is console developers do this all the time. I mean, there's been the Wii U in particular, as a lot of its software has probably been in development for years now.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at all this. That's just because use the thing.
The tablet.
Yeah.
And there's always something, no matter what it is, how the hardware runs that you have to do as a software developer. I mean, if Xbox is going to be coming out with a 720 within the next year and a half, which they either better or they're going to be utterly stupid, in that they may have great hardware that may blow the Wii U away, but think about it. If they wait 2 years to get the 2 or 3 years to get the hardware out, guess what? Middle of their generation, the next Nintendo product's going to come out that's 5 times stronger.
They could always, something that they're quickly and half-assed like it seemed like the 360 was at first.
Oh, that's just because it's Microsoft, but that's beside the point.
Bill Gates, why'd you leave?
Oh, even then, his software was half-baked a lot of the time, but that's just Microsoft. Yeah. But...
And you wanted to get this thing, right?
I want to because I'm a burgeoning software developer, but it costs $275 for get the parts, and you'll get the parts. It's a build your own kit.
So we're starting a Kickstarter to help Mama get this. We can start developing software.
No, I'll probably start developing some software on my own. I've had a lot of ideas floating around in my mind. I got to get on paper, and I think it'll be good when I finally start getting it together. But that's beside the point. That's for next time, for later, when I finally get a working prototype to show people.
This seems like the beauty of college. You go to college, you get a degree, and then you're not working in your field for 2 years.
Oh, that's because 60% of college graduates are unemployed.
It's lovely.
It's beautiful. That's just college degrees for you.
Yeah, they're so helpful.
Oh,
they will
do
always
help.
get you a job.
Oh, they're very helpful, but sometimes it's a job market problem, really. But that's politics. That's economics. Freak doesn't like talking about that.
I don't like talking about religion.
You also said politics.
That's because so many politicians are idiots. I'm not even going to get...
the joy of being a politician.
I'm not even going to get my views on the current presidential election, because, my God.
Yeah, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. Because I'm pretty sure we disagree. But, I guess we'll see you next time.
Oh, wait, real quick. We have 8 minutes left. What have you been doing this week as gaming and technologies go?
Gaming. I played some Saints Row with you.
Yeah.
That was actually quite fun. You guys won't see it for another 4 weeks, but,
probably more like 5.
We just got so much back stock. We also, I'm not sure if you want to announce the, series we did with,
start a new Minecraft series. Yep. So it's first up should be tomorrow or tonight, depending on how long this process.
It's actually pretty good. I don't like the mishmash of mods. I really like a more cohesive game. That's just the gamer and game developer in me. I don't like things that are just kind of like MASH! But that's just me. I apologize for that. You might actually hear me complaining. I don't remember if I actually did or not. I think it was the second video I did that.
I think you were complaining between recordings.
I might have.
I don't know if you were complaining while we were actually recording.
We'll figure that out when the video actually up. It's about a good hour video, so have fun.
And cut it up so it's not. Nobody wants to sit there for an hour and watch guys play Minecraft and complain to each other.
That's true. So there's that. I also recorded some Better Than Wolves. I'm finally getting into the meat of
Optimus Prime?
automation, which is really what this is about. Automation
Well,
and mob trap.
Right.
I haven't done mob trapping yet, so I'm really halfway excited about building my first mob trap ever. So
I have been playing New Vegas still. And doing DLC missions out of order, apparently.
this is in order.
Yeah, there's an order because there's level grades, and I decided to go for the Lonely Road, which was the last one. I'm like, oh, I'm not level for that. So I went to another one that had to be level 20, so I wasn't level for that. I went to Old World Blues, which I was two levels under, so okay, I'll do this one first. Like, oh, it's supposed to be the second to last one. Oh well.
Oops.
I gotta say, I love the DLC missions. The stories that adds to it is just so amazing.
They're good.
I mean, the big story is good itself, but you don't get that in depth into it unless you're like trying to. With the DLC missions, they give you so much story, and it's like, here's a story. Now go shoot that. I love it.
A well-written story will carry your
And
game farther than
Fallout
it needs to.
When Fallout 4 Atlantis comes out, I'm gonna be so happy because they're gonna have plasmids. And a wrench.
Yes, and it's developed by 2K Martin, the makers of BioShock.
Oh, this is gonna be the best.
Oh yes,
This is the best.
and then go to space and meet up with
Oh,
Starbucks.
yeah.
and
Yep.
MSR because those obviously take place in the same universe.
Of course. Of course. They never come to Earth, so how do you know? How do you know?
And then they meet up with some Jedi later,
And that's what it just gets weird.
and then it goes
That's
through Mass Relay and up in Mass Effect.
And then it makes sense again. All
Yes.
makes sense again. It's all obsidian. It's all obsidian.
Yeah. Anyway, see you next time.
Yep, that's it for us this week. Next week, try talking about not game developers. What am I thinking of? We'll talk about it next week. I can think of it because I can think of the name right now.
Yep.